Hi everybody, in today's lesson we are going to be discussing formatting a spreadsheet and looking at different data types. Now, to format a spreadsheet is quite easy. We have our basic formatting like bold, italic, underlined, font and font color. And then you can also format a cell to a currency or a date or a time, etc. So we'll start with the basic formatting with using our bold, underline, left, right, center, etc. So if we're going to start with alignment, to align cells, to align text in cells in the center, you highlight the cells that you want to format. Then in our home tab and the alignment group, all you need to do is click on center and you will see that your data is now centered within the cell. Now, there's another kind of centering that can take place, and that is merge and centering. And that's when you center data across a number of columns. So for instance, I'm going to type in a heading. So now to merge and center this heading across the cells that I've used, I'm going to highlight or select from A1 to F1. And then again in my alignment group in the home tab, I'm going to find the merge and center button. And if I click on it, you can see that it has merged and centered this heading right across the columns that I've used. So now Excel automatically will align a number to the right when you type it in. Have a look. So you don't have to worry about aligning numbers, but you might want to align other numbers centered, or we might want to left align them, or I'll just go back to right align because they are numbers. So that's the simple part of alignment. We can change our font in the font group in the home tab. We can change it to anything we like. I've changed it to Aharoni. We can change the font size because this is a heading. I'm going to make it font size 16. We can change the font color. Another thing we can do in the font group, Great Tent, is that we can fill in our cells. So we can color in the background of our cells. So to do that, I'm going to color in the background of these column headings. So I've highlighted from A3 to F3. And again in the font group, I'm going to come to the fill color, click on the arrow, and I'm going to choose a color in which to fill the background of the cells. Now, if you take a look at the spreadsheet and my column headings, you can see that you can't see the headings clearly. So to make it clear, there's two things you can do. You can either make your columns wider by clicking and dragging, or you can wrap the text in the cells, and I'll show you how to do that. So again, I'm going to highlight my column headings. I'm now going to right click and I'm going to choose Format Cells. Then in my Format Cells dialog box, I'm going to choose Alignment. And under Text Control, I'm going to choose Wrap Text, and I'm going to say OK. And now you can see that Excel has actually put the data that doesn't fit on the same line underneath. So it looks like this. And then you can obviously edit it or make your columns smaller or wider so that it looks a bit better. So now I did that on purpose. Can you see that name is now sitting at the bottom of your cell? I showed you earlier how to center your cell, your contents horizontally. We would want to center these cells vertically and horizontally as well. So that's quite easy. Again, I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to Format Cells. We need the Alignment tab again. And here is our horizontal and our vertical alignment. So for horizontal, I am going to choose center. And for vertical, I am going to choose center. Then I'm going to say OK. So now if you look at name, it is centered both horizontally and vertically in the cell, and that looks a lot better. So now once you've actually done basic formatting, you might want to add borders to the work that you've done, and that's quite easy. So I'm going to again highlight what I want to apply my border to. I'm again going to right click and go to Format Cells. This time in the dialog box I am going to choose Border. Now your border dialog box is divided into two. You've got your line where you can choose what kind of line you want. Then underneath it you can choose a line color. And on the right hand side you can choose whether you only want a border around the outside of your work or if you want it outside and inside. So I'm going to choose quite a thick line, and for today's exercise I'm going to choose red. So I'm going to put a red outline border around the work, and I'm going to choose a dotted line in blue to put in the inside of the work. Once you've decided and you're happy with your choice, you click on OK, and if you look at your spreadsheet now, we've got a thick red border around the outside of our work, and on the inside we've got the blue dotted border. So now Excel also has something called autofill, and autofill is just brilliant. It helps us be so efficient in our work. Autofill automatically fills in a sequence of cells. So for instance, if I had to type in the word Monday and I use the autofill, it should fill in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. First, let me show you where the autofill is. If you look at the cell that's active, it's got a border around it. And if you look in the right-hand corner, it's got a tiny little square that's almost not attached. If I rest my mouse on that square, it becomes a black cross. That black cross is your autofill. So now if I click and hold my left button down and I drag it to the right, can you see it autofills in the days of the week for you? Pretty cool, hey? So it not only does days of the week, but it will do months of the year for you as well. Have a look at that. And it can do numbers as well, but the only thing with a number is that you have to give it the first two numbers so it knows the sequence it's got to follow. So if I type in a 5 and a 10 and I use the autofill, it's going to fill the sequence in going up in 5s. Have a look at that. And if I do 1 and 2, it's just going to fill in single numbers. Okay, so the autofill can save us a lot of time when it comes to doing a spreadsheet. So now we have to look at resizing our columns and our rows. It's very simple. If you want to make all your columns the same width, you have to resize them. So to resize a column, you right-click on the column, you choose column width, and you type in the width that you want your column to be, and you say OK, and you'll see that the column has been resized to 15. It works the same with rows. I'm going to highlight from row 4 to 10. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to row height. I'm going to type in 25 so you can actually see the difference and say OK, and you can see that the row heights have become a lot wider. Now, we might not be able to see somebody's surname right down at the bottom of our spreadsheets, so you won't know exactly how big to change the column width if you want to do it by right-clicking and going to column width. A simple way to make a column wider is to put your mouse on the border between the A and the B and just to double-click, and Excel will automatically make your column as wide as the largest entry that you have in a single cell. So now, once you can edit your columns and make them wider or narrower, and the same thing with your rows, you might want to insert a new column or a new row. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. to insert a new row, all you need to do is right click on the row and you say insert, and Excel automatically inserts a row above the row that you've selected. It's the same with a column. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say insert, and Excel will insert a new column to the left of the column that I've selected. So to insert a row, I'll go over it again with you. We right click and we say insert, and a row will be inserted above. And for a column, we right click on the column and we say insert, and a column will be inserted to the left. Now, we've inserted rows and columns, but it's just as easy to delete rows and columns. So to delete a column, you right click on the column you want to delete and you choose delete, and it's gone. And to delete a row, you do exactly the same thing. You right click on the row you want to delete and you choose delete. That's quite simple. Now, you might want to share a spreadsheet with somebody, but you don't want them to see all the information on your spreadsheet. So you might want to hide a column or a row. So that's quite simple. All you do is you select the column that you want to hide. You right click and you say hide, and you can see I've hidden column E. So it goes A, B, C, D, F. So column E is now hidden. So to unhide it, you just highlight both the columns, you right click and you say unhide, and column E comes back. So that's only if you don't want people to see certain bits of information. I'm going to move on to page layout now, grade 10s. So just like in Microsoft Word, we use page layout and the page setup tab to change margins, the orientation of our paper, the size of our paper, etc. So I am going to quickly show you how to change the margins. We're going to click on the arrow next to page setup. We're going to click on our margins tab, and then just like in Word, Excel gives you a choice of changing the top, left, bottom and right hand margins. I'm only going to change the left margin to 1.3 and the right margin to 1.3. Then I'm going to say OK, and our margins will have been changed. Okay, now grade 10s, I'm going to change the size of the paper. So we're going back to our page setup group. I'm going to click on the arrow, and in the page tab under paper size, we have an option of changing the size of our paper. You also have an option of changing the orientation of your page to portrait or landscape. You do remember that portrait shows your work vertically on a page and landscape is more horizontal. And then if I go back to margins, there's one thing that Excel does quite well, is that it can center all your work horizontally and vertically on the page. And I'll show you what it looks like. If I had to go to print preview now, it shows our little table right on the left hand side of the page. But if I had to go back to page setup and my margins and choose center on page horizontally and vertically, and then go to print preview, can you see the difference? It is now placed smack bang in the middle of your page. And that, grade 10, brings us to the end of our lesson on formatting. Until I see you next time.